What's up, everybody? We're a little bit late. Had some technical difficulties. Had somebody not want to show up. So everybody, I want everybody to sit here real quick. Everybody in the chat, make sure you take the time to boo Dustin. Boo that man. Boo him loud. Boo him. Go tag him on Twitter. Go tag him on his Instagram. Tell him how much he sucks. And then tell him how much you love his content. Go follow him. But much love. But we have my boy Joey come on here. And those of y'all that know, Joey be dropping some heat. So, Joe, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up? I'm doing good. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's Feel Good Friday. I feel kind of good. Probably feel better than Jimmy Garoppolo's foot, but that's we're gonna get into some things today. So today we're gonna talk about the offseason, what's been going on. We're gonna talk about the quarterback situation for the Raiders right now, and why Raider fans should not panic yet. We're going to talk a little bit about the Raiders' old quarterback and what he's got cooking down in New Orleans. And then we're going to, take some questions from the chat and see if the chat has stuff to talk about, and see if they can get active. I know I see my boy Ivan out there, so shout out Ivan. What's good, brother? But first, let's get into it. So, I did my draft recap last week, and we were talking about, how the Raiders fared in the draft. And one of the things I was looking at was that, you move on from Darren Waller, you trade him, you get Trey Tucker with that 100 pick. Did the Raiders need another wide receiver? Not necessarily, but the Raiders did need speed. So, Joey, I'm going to let you talk a little about what Trey Tucker brings to the offense.
I think Trey Tucker is like a very fast guy who could extend, have the deep threat. So we can have our guys that will run tinier routes like Renfro and I don't know whoever else they are going to have run smaller routes, while Trey Tucker can take it deep and have the safeties go cover him instead of coming forward and guarding Hunter Renfro or any of the guys that are running small routes at for 5-10 yards.
Yeah, let's look at. You had in 2019, you had Nelson Aguilar. In 2020, you had Henry Ruggs. In 2021, for half of the season until, when what happened with Ruggs happened, you had Henry Ruggs. After that, the Raiders didn't have a speed guy. The Raiders have always prided themselves of having that speed wide receiver that can stretch the field. They can take it down. They can, kind of just open things up. It started with Cliff Branch, and it's not going to end anytime soon. As long as Mark Davis is in the building, as long as there is a Davis attached to the Raiders will always want speed. And so, I think that Trey Tucker was kind of a no-brainer for them to bring in. My biggest concern was obviously the defense. I want defense. But I think they did a good job on defense. You bring in a Tyree Wilson, you bring in a Byron Young, you bring in a Chris Smith. These are all guys that can play, and they should be, immediate impact players, and they need to be immediate impact players. But looking at the team now going into OTAs, the list comes out of guys who aren't there, right? Josh Jacobs was obviously that guy that everybody knows he's not going to be there. Everybody's concerned about Josh. I've seen people talk about trading Josh. I think people need to get off the crack pipe and lay off the weed, because Raiders aren't trading Josh Jacobs. I can tell you that right now. The Raiders, and look, don't mark my words on this, because I said the Raiders weren't going to trade Khalil Mack either. And, but I don't think the Raiders are going to trade Josh Jacobs. It doesn't make sense to me, especially after Josh forked out all that money to switch his number to his college number of 8. But yeah, so the names that weren't there, Josh, Hunter, Jimmy, Tyree, Trayvon Merrick, so those guys weren't there. Tyree's obviously dealing with an injury, nothing serious that anybody needs to be worried about. We knew about it. People are going to be concerned about it because Raider fans like to be concerned about stuff. Jimmy, on the other hand, a lot of people weren't aware of his situation. So when Jimmy came in to the Raiders, they discovered that he actually needed surgery with the foot issue that he sustained when he was with the Niners. And so he sustained this injury with the Niners. Niners basically were like, nah, you don't need surgery. So he's going around on it thinking he doesn't need surgery. Raiders discover that he does need surgery. So he has surgery. Nobody knew that he had surgery. So everybody's freaking out. This is why we don't freak out, Joey.
Yeah.
It's May. It's May.
Preseason doesn't start till August.
Yeah. And look, Jimmy's what, 215, 220 pounds. It's not like he's, a 6'5", 330-pound lineman who is going to have a harder time coming back from an injury. Okay. Jimmy's a quarterback. He's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. I know everybody's concerned about the injury issues. Look, it's not. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think that the injury issues are a Jimmy Garoppolo thing. I think the injury issues are a San Francisco 49ers thing. Look. Jimmy, Trey, Brock, Josh. Come on. Mm-hmm. That's like when the Raiders started having lower body issues. It's when the Raiders had lower body issues, right? And it was attributed to the practice field that they had in Alameda. So what did the Raiders do? They went in, they redid the practice field. Guess what? None of those injuries happen anymore. You fire the training staff. None of those injuries happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they need to look inward. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that, though?
I think, especially because in the playoff game against the Eagles, it was quarterback gone, and it's just been injuries after injury after injury, which you can't have, especially in the playoffs, let alone your quarterback. So, yeah, I think it's a Niners problem, and I think Jimmy can get over the hump, but because he had that surgery, I'm happy he had that, because if he didn't have that, that could have turned into a bigger injury in the season when we wouldn't want that, and it's good that he got that out of the way now.
Talk that talk, Joey. Anthony says Jimmy needs to build chemistry with the wide receivers. Absolutely. He's been kicking it with Devontae every day. I get the on-field chemistry, but here's the good thing is these guys are veterans. These guys are pros. These guys aren't, new guys coming in, and Jimmy's not a guy coming in learning a new system. That's what people need to realize. He's not learning a new system. He's just reinstalling an old system. So this isn't where he needs to sit down and say, well, we got to do this. Look, he knows the system. He's in communications with the guys. I'm not that concerned about it yet. Now, if it's August and Jimmy's still walking around in a walking cast, then we can start to panic. And then we got Aiden O'Connell that we're looking at. And man, hey, I watched some of his college tape. I was a little perplexed at the pick in the beginning. I watched some of his college tape, and he can ball. He broke every record at Purdue. He broke all of Drew Brees' numbers. Anybody that knows Drew Brees is a pretty good quarterback. I mean, he played for this really terrible franchise down in San Diego for a long time. They screwed him over, and then he went and won a Super Bowl. What is it with Charger players winning after they leave? They're adverse to winning in San Diego or Los Angeles or whatever they want to call themselves now. They like to talk about us moving, but they also moved 3 times. But Aiden can sling it. He can sling. He's a big dude. He looks like Rod Farva from Super Troopers. I'm not real sure about that mustache. His mustache looks like he. I'll save that for another podcast where there aren't children on here.
Hold on. One thing real quick. I go let my sister in because she's outside, and I locked the door, and the door is locked.
You're good. Let's take a quick break. No, I'm just kidding. While Joey's away, I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that we got going on. Make sure everybody is tapped into blackout. Blackout events are going to be going on. I'm talking about some stuff right now. Little blackout. blackout events are going to be going on all season long. So pregame party, we got the night before party, we have the tailgate, we've got the party bus, we've got the after party at the Win Club. Every home game. Look, if you guys aren't tapped in with blackout, then I don't know what to tell you, because ain't nothing like a blackout. I love blackouts. We're partnered up with Happy Dad. We're partnered up with Woodson Whiskey. We are partnered up with Pacifico. So make sure everybody's tapped in with that. I'll be there for a lot of those games. You can come party with your boy. The tailgate event is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about this season. Now getting into this season, Joey, I'm going into this season with a different approach. So every year when the season starts, or in the off season, like right around the draft, I start getting excited. I'm like, oh yeah, Raiders got this and they did this and they brought this guy in free agency and they did, and I'm like, oh, Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl. And this year, Joey, I'm not going to say the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to do a little reverse psychology. I'm going to say the Raiders are going to win. I'm going to say the Raiders are going to win at least 8 games. It's an improvement over last year. It's an improvement over last year. I don't know what this defense is going to look like. I mean, let's be honest. The defense was not impressive last year outside of Max Crosby. Yeah. There's guys that need to pull it together. There's 29 new players on defense. So Patrick Graham is going to have a lot of time to install this system and get guys going. And they're going to rely on some of the veterans that are there, like Max Crosby, like Chandler Jones, like Nate Hobbs, like Trayvon Merrick, getting these guys ready and getting these guys ready to go. I'm concerned with the linebacker position. Look, we lost Denzel Perryman, who's been the Raiders' best linebacker since another guy was wearing 52 in Kirk Morrison. I'm saying actual linebacker, not Khalil Mack, but you know what I'm saying? Big worm. Oh, man. 5 or 6 at best if I'm smoking. Look, I'm too fat to smoke meth. Come on, man. Come on, man. You can just say I'm off that good. But I'm saying I think 8 wins should be the floor. 8 wins should be the floor. I think that this team, if everything is clicking, this can be a squad that should be a playoff squad. Offensively, there's no reason why this team should not put up points. And everybody can say, well, what about Jimmy? Or look, everybody was worried about last year. The team had no problem putting up points. It was just putting up points in the second half. I think this team can be good. Am I going to say they are going to be phenomenal right now? No, I'm not going to say they're going to be a Super Bowl team, but this is a team that can compete. Okay. You look at the schedule, you've got Denver. Oh, that's a sweep. You've got the Chargers. That's probably a split. The Chiefs should be able to split. And then, so on and so forth. There's some big games I'm excited about. You got the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams reunion. You've got the Devontae Adams and Packers reunion. You've got the Pittsburgh coming to Vegas for the home opener. That's going to be exciting. So there's a lot of games that I'm fired up for. 5 primetime games, 1 Christmas Day game. There's a lot to get excited about there. What are some games that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the division games because those are always good games. I'm looking forward to a lot of our primetime games, especially the Steeler one because it's a Sunday night football game, so you got all eyes on you. It's a home opener, so fans are going to be crazy. And I think it's a dub I think we could definitely get a dub that game.
Look, the Steelers have not beaten the Raiders at home in over 10 years.
Yeah.
In the whole Ben Roethlisberger era, going back to Bill Cowher, the Steelers, I don't know if Bill Cowher, possibly. I got to fact check that. Joe, if you want to fact check that, you can. But take my word for it. Dang it. They never beat the Raiders at home.
Mhm.
So ipso facto, it's going to be an exciting game though, because that is a longtime rival. The Raider fans always get up for those games. Steeler fans travel well. It's going to be a good time out there. Some Raider news. Obviously, there was news of another quarterback the Raiders brought in. One Thomas Brady. He was not brought in to play, but he bought in a minority stake of ownership to purchase the Raiders. So makes him, another guy that goes from playing on the field to owning a team. But I posed this question on Twitter, and I got some great reviews from it. With this new emergency quarterback situation that they have in the
Ooh.
playoffs, obviously he would have to get owners. He would have to basically sell his shares. But what are the odds of touchdown Tommy coming out of retirement and suiting up in the silver and black? Look, 12 is available. The number 12 is available. Nobody's got it. He knows the system probably better than Josh McDaniels knows the system. He's gone to a team and won a championship his first year. What about Tommy? Could Tommy come out of the owner's booth?
Oof, would be an interesting situation for sure. If it does happen, he would obviously have to sell his stakes in the team, but he would probably buy them back right after. That would be my guess. But I think it would be a cool thing, but also not a cool thing to watch because everyone knows what happened. But if he can bring us to a ring, I'm a younger fan, so I didn't get to experience the Tuck rule. So
Yeah.
I'm not as like have a rivalry with Tom Brady as to my mom and my dad, who obviously watch the game and do not like Tom Brady at all. But
Yeah.
as a newer fan, I'm like, okay, maybe, but I still don't like him. And I think if he can bring us a chip, that would be awesome.
Look, before you guys jump on Joey's a Raider through and through. I mean, this guy's got silver and black in his blood. His mom was a Raiderette. She was there for the Jamarcus Russell era. And so this is a Raider family. This is a Raider brethren right here. Joey spits facts. Look, this is jokes. Tom ain't gonna come out of the owner's booth and do it, but if he did, it would be funny. I mean that right, and it would be the most Raider thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Like, of all Raider things, Tom Brady comes, let me come out. Like, that's just a Raider ass thing to do. Like, I mean, that's like Al Davis calling in plays from the owner's box and overriding Lane Kiffin, and so it would be funny. I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, it would be a Raider thing to do. Want to talk a little bit about Saints, what they've got going on, just because there's a lot of Raiders there, and they've got some Raidering going on down there. It was just noted that John Gruden is back in the NFL. Former Raiders head coach, former ESPN announcer, John Gruden is back in the NFL. He's helping the Saints install their offensive program, their offensive system. As everybody knows, Derek Carr is the quarterback down there. Dennis Allen's the head coach, the guy that drafted DC. They've got Foster Moreau over there. They've got Jonathan Abrams. So they're like the Raiders of the South, like the Raiders or the Patriots of the West. They're the Raiders of the South. They're black and gold. We're silver and black. But it's interesting, John Gruden's getting a second chance, and I want to get people's opinions on this because I'm kind of torn. So what's your opinion? Have you talked to your mom or anybody about this yet?
So I saw the report came in today after school, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" And I think he's just like helping with the offense, and maybe he's coming in as like an offensive coach or a quarterback coach or something, and into the season. But with that, the NFL is not gonna like that because they obviously try to kick him out, and if he's trying to come back in, that's not a good look for the NFL. So like the Raiders, how we always get flags, the Saints might start getting some flags their way.
Now, mind you, John Gruden is suing the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, this is a Raider move. Like, this is something Al Davis would have done. Sue the NFL and then be like, yeah, you know what? I'm still going to do whatever I want to do. I think this is great for the Saints, and Raider Room has a great point. It's a great move on the Saints' part if they're hoping to get the best out of Carr. John Gruden and Bill Musgrave got the absolute best out of Carr. When Carr was the 2016 season, Carr's MVP votes year, that was the best that you saw out of Carr until John Gruden came. I think that Gruden helps Carr outside of the pocket. He helps him with scrambling, gives him a little more confidence on that. The two have been communicating since John Gruden resigned. They were neighbors. They talk a lot. So I think that it's good for them. I think that it's good for the Saints. I think that the Saints are going to have good with that. But you still have the question mark of what about the emails? Now, 10 years ago, Zebra doesn't really change the stripes. Like I said, I don't think that he meant anything incredibly bad by it, but at the same time, not something you want to put in email. I think that the thing that still pisses a lot of people off is that out of 165,000 emails, John Gruden's were the only one. We know that it was a witch hunt. But that's why Snyder's forced to sell the team, and that's why they're doing what they're doing over there. So that's all I wanted to get on with that. It's just, I thought it was kind of interesting that they were bringing him in to help out. I think that, like I said, I think it's going to be really good for the Saints. I'm worried about the Saints. Like, honestly, the Saints. Derek Carr's got a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Derek's got a chip on his shoulder. He's pissed off, and he's going to try to show some people what he's made of. So just keep an eye on them. Obviously, we don't have to play them this year. We play them next year. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Let's see. Yeah. So Joy, what you got going on, man? What have you been doing?
I've just been chilling. School's done next week, but we do have a 3-day weekend this weekend because of Memorial Day.
Yeah.
After that, I think this summer is the summer that I'm actually going to start up my podcast. I've already come up with some ideas with names, topics, and other stuff as well. So I'll shoot that out to you once I get it started, and then school. What else? Oh, sports. I've been doing a lot of sports. I think that's really it. There's nothing else really that I've been doing. Just kind of watching the draft too.
What about the TikToks? You got the TikToks.
Oh, the TikToks, yeah. Those I have been really inconsistent lately. I posted a lot about the Warriors Kings series, so big Warriors dub.
Yeah. So how was that in your house? Because your mom's a Kings fan, and so she said that we weren't friends during the time during that series. How was it actually living there?
Oh, it was awesome because when they won game 1, she was all up in my face, and then game 2 she was like, oh yeah, look what's happening now. And then game 3 I was like, okay, and then game 4 it's tie game. She was like, okay, I see you guys are coming back. And then game 5 happened, and then they were like, oh no. And then game 6 I was like, okay. And then game 7 finished the deal. I had so much bragging rights for the house. I was like, Warriors won. No, I got the bragging rights now. But then she was like, it was our first time making it into the playoffs for 20 years. So I'm happy for the team that we made it.
That's like me saying, well, at least we didn't get swept.
Exactly.
But nah. Speaking of getting swept, shout out my guy, the Raider Room. The Raider Room is a huge Lakers fan, and I just wanted to congratulate him on getting swept by the Nuggets. They didn't win a single game. They got swept. LeBron then shortly after said that he's been playing on a torn tendon in his foot. We've seen about that. Yeah, he's been playing on a torn tendon, and that's why they lost. But LeBron always creates this narrative when he gets his ass handed to him. When they lost to the Warriors, when they lost to the Warriors, it was his hand. His hand was broken. He comes to the press conference with a broken hand. Everybody says, well, he needs help. How much help does he need? I mean,
Yeah.
how many
I
people
think
does he need to carry him?
Yeah. I think now he's obviously getting older, so he's losing a lot of his athleticism. But I think soon he also came out that he's considering retirement. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to wait a year or two because he's obviously stated he wants to play with his son multiple times in the past, and he has a player option next year. So maybe next year he might take if Bronny declares next year, then he's not taking the player option and going free agency and going to the team that gets Bronny, or Bronny doesn't declare, he accepts the player option with the Lakers, doesn't and I don't think he's even trying to ring chase anymore because he understands he's out of his prime. He understands he's probably not going to get a ring for the rest of his career. So now he's kind of just like waiting for his son to come into the NBA to play with him.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I would like to see him and Bronny play together. I think that would be a really cool dynamic. You don't generally see stuff like that. You saw it with Ken Griffey Jr. and his dad with the Mariners. When Ken Griffey stole the ball from his dad and he got grounded. But you don't see that often, and to see that, it's pretty cool. And for a father-son moment, I think that would be amazing. I saw some reports that the Warriors are favored to land LeBron. I say fuck no, pardon my French, but no. And I don't want that. I think the Warriors are. I'm not going to be like John Morant and say we're good in the West, but I think that I'd rather just continue to build on the core that they have with Steph, Clay, and Dre. That's the way that it goes. Now, Ivan, what if the Raiders draft Bronny but don't sign LeBron? That would be hilarious.
Interesting.
But that would mean that Bron would be at every game in the Bay, and then we'd have to start seeing his face and that hairline all over. And I don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
All right. Well, I got a question for you, or stuff. What are your
Hey! This is my podcast. You can't ask me questions. No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
All right. So, what are your opinions on the A's possibly moving to Vegas and that? Because I know you're an A's fan.
Yeah. So I'm kind of an A's fan. They're like the child that I don't really like anymore. I'm both. I like both teams. I like the A's and the Giants. Just beat LA. That's my only thing. I told people when the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, don't be sad when the A's move. People said I was crazy. People said that I didn't know what I was talking about. And people said, Libby's trying to get things done. Libby's trying to get things done in Oakland. She's putting all her focus on the A's. I said, don't be surprised when this happens. Hold on one second. Kaden, come here. Can you grab the food at the door? Can you grab the food? Hey, give it to me. Okay. But I said, don't be surprised. I said, don't be surprised when the A's move to Vegas. I said, the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, does not want sports. They let the Warriors walk. They let the Raiders walk. They acted like they were mad about it, and they acted like they were trying to keep them. It was basically all a show just to try to get things to happen for them. They want to take that land. They want to develop it. It's waterfront property, right? Waterfront property. They want to develop that. They saw China Basin over in San Francisco, and they saw what came out of that. All the businesses, all the housing, all the shopping, all the money that can be generated. And you look at sports, and the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda does not value sports. And so that's my thing is I saw it happening. I saw it coming. I feel bad for the diehard A's fans because there's 12 diehard A's fans. They're like Charger fans where they're few, but they're mighty, but they're losing everything. Oakland lost the Raiders. I'm from Oakland. Oakland lost the Raiders. Oakland lost the Warriors. Luckily, they're still across the bay, but it's not the same atmosphere.
Mhm.
Chase Center doesn't have the same vibe as Oracle Arena, and for those people like me who were there during the days of, the Warriors basically selling packages to see, guys like Kobe and Shaq and to see MJ and Pippen, when the Warriors weren't good, tickets $14 to sit in the first deck. If the Warriors, score 100 points, you get a chalupa, all those things, right? So it sucks for the fans. It sucks for the fans that, that grew up in Oakland that are losing everything. And, I know a lot of people aren't going to follow the A's to Las Vegas. It's going to be, it's going to be a new fan base. You're going to get fans there because it's Vegas. You're going to get fans there because they want sports, but it's not going to be a home field advantage.
It's the same thing with the Raiders. It's a tourist city.
Yeah.
So
you Raiders, you're always going to have tourists there. And unless the Raiders put together a winning package on the field, you're going to have fans from other teams there, and that's never going to change unless they fix it. So you got to win. So I feel, like I said, I feel bad for the city of Oakland. I feel bad for the fans, not the city of Oakland. I feel bad for the fans and the people of Oakland who have lost the Raiders, who have lost the Warriors, who have lost the A's, and are losing a great history, a rich history of sports in the Bay Area, because the Bay Area has one of the richest histories of sports in the Bay Area. We've got champions on both sides of the Bay. We raise banners up in here, and so it's sad to see a lot of that Bay Area history washed away. I saw something on 95.7 The Game. They were talking about who is the best Bay Area sports, and you've got Joe Montana, you got Jerry Rice, you've got Steph Curry, you've got Chris Mullin, you've got Barry Bonds, you've got all these names listed, but no, they're already starting to forget about the Charles Woodsons and the Tim Browns and the Ken Stablers and and the Ricky Hendersons and the Mark McGuires and the Jose Cansecos. And so it's up to us, as fans, to keep that tradition going and to keep the memory alive. And for you guys, the younger generation, to educate your friends and stuff and be like, yo, this is what's up. This is what Oakland was about. What did I even say? What do I think about the A's and their colors? New colors to keep the same. I like the A's colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, green and gold, like you can't wear it everywhere, but green is my favorite color. And I like you keep the colors.
I think so too.
A's are going to start spending a lot of money.
Ooh, yeah.
They're going to start spending a lot of money on players. They're going to start, keeping guys, hopefully. And that's always been my knock on the A's. Like, dude, why are we, why do you develop these great players and then ship them off for peanuts? It's like the ownership doesn't care about the fan base. At least when the Raiders moved, you bring in John Gruden, you bring in Marshawn Lynch, you bring in things to make people happy, and to not forget about Vegas, or not to forget about the Raiders. Raider Room says, I'm glad the Raiders ended up Vegas, not San Antonio. Me too. San Antonio would have sucked. Wish the Raiders went to LA, but that.
But you already have two teams in LA. It would have been hard because you're gonna have a 3-team, which would have been almost impossible, or you're gonna make an entire new stadium.
Both teams are visitors in their own home. Both teams are visitors in their own home.
Oh yeah.
Both teams look. The Rams won a Super Bowl, and I went to the Raiders-Rams game. There weren't even Rams fans there. There weren't. It was Rams fans.
It was Rams bandwagons, not Rams fans.
Look, this is the popularity of sports in Los Angeles. I would say number 1, you've got the Lakers. 2, you've got the Dodgers.
Oh yeah.
3, you have the Raiders.
Yep.
4, you have USC Trojans.
Oh yeah.
5, I would say you got the Kings.
Okay.
6, you have the Galaxy. 7, you have. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back a little bit. I'd say like 5, you have the Niners. 6, you have the Galaxy. 7, you have the Rams. And way down there at 37,965, you've got the Chargers. They can't even freaking put together. Oh, come on. The Clippers are 6.
Oh,
I forgot about the Clippers. That's how forgettable the Clippers are. The Clippers are the Chargers of the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
No rings. Y'all got me on a good one right now. Y'all got me talking.
Trying to think what else is it there that you think we should talk about? Anything?
I want to talk about Dustin. I want to talk about Dustin and why Dustin doesn't want to come on my podcast.
Let's hear
Dustin doesn't like me anymore or something like that. He's mad because he's mad because the Warriors beat the Kings in the playoffs. Ivan says you got the Snoop Dogg's Pee Wee team over the Chargers. Yes. But yeah, so screw Dustin. Everybody go follow Dustin at the right away and spam him. Because he deserves to be spammed. Shout out to the guys in the room. I'm good today. I'm good. I'm gonna take this time, reflect on why I hate Dustin so much. I want to thank you for coming on, Joey. I appreciate you as always. You always bring the fire. You always bring the heat. I can't wait till you get that podcast going. That's going to be exciting. If you ever need any help on that, don't call me. No, I'm just kidding. Don't hesitate to call me for real. You know, you got my number. You can call me anytime. It might take a couple days to text back just because I have ADHD and I'd be forgetting things. But Joey, when you get that podcast, we'll bring you back on. We'll talk about that. We'll get your podcast going. We'll get everything popping. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. As always, my boy Ivan, aka Raider Cody. Ivan looks almost just like Raider Cody. He's like the Latino Raider Cody. Be Raider Code. And then shout out Raider Room. No shout out to Dustin. No shout out to Dustin. Chat, you guys are awesome. I'm out.